Her name was Eleanor Whitmore, a self-made billionaire known across the city as a sharp investor with an icy reputation. She built empires from broken companies and never trusted easily. Years ago, betrayal had hardened her heart, and success had taught her one cruel lesson: people always chose themselves when given the chance. That belief followed her everywhere, even on this gray evening as she stepped out of her chauffeured car, heels clicking against wet marble. She noticed the man by the bank not because he asked for money, but because he didn't. His eyes were tired, not desperate, and when he glanced up, there was no entitlement in them, only exhaustion and quiet dignity. Something about that unsettled her. Eleanor had been running late, her mind crowded with numbers and negotiations, yet she stopped. Not out of pity, she told herself, but curiosity. She had spent her life surrounded by people who pretended to be good until money entered the room. Here was a man with nothing. An impulse she couldn't explain took hold. She reached into her designer coat, pulled out a sleek black credit card, and placed it gently into his trembling hands. She told him it had no spending limit, that he could buy whatever he wanted, and that she would return in 1 hour. This was a test, she believed. A final confirmation of everything she thought she knew about human nature. The man, whose name was Daniel Carter, stared at the card as if it might disappear. His hands shook, not with greed, but with fear. He hadn't touched something so clean, so expensive, in years. Life had collapsed on him slowly, then all at once. After his wife died from a sudden illness, medical bills swallowed their savings. He lost his job when he took time off to care for his daughter, and eviction followed soon after. Shelters were full, friends drifted away, and pride kept him silent. Every decision he made now was measured against one thing: keeping his daughter safe, fed, and believing that her father was still someone worth trusting. When Eleanor walked away, Daniel sat frozen for several minutes. He could feel eyes on him, people assuming he would run, splurge, vanish. The temptation was real. He could buy warm clothes, a hotel room, toys, food. He could even disappear into another city. But as he stood up, clutching the card, one thought anchored him. His daughter, Lily, believed her dad was honest. That belief was the last thing he owned, and he refused to sell it. He walked through the city carefully, every storefront glowing with possibilities he had denied himself for years. The first place he entered was not a luxury store or electronics shop. It was a modest grocery store. Inside, warmth wrapped around him, and for a moment he just stood there, breathing. He bought fresh bread, milk, fruit, and simple meals he knew Lily loved. Nothing excessive. Enough for a few days. He kept the receipt, folding it neatly as if it were proof of his worth. Next, he walked several blocks to a children's clothing store. Lily had been growing fast, her shoes pinching her feet, her jacket too small. Daniel's chest tightened as he selected a warm coat, sturdy shoes, and a backpack decorated with bright stars. He imagined her smile, the way her eyes lit up at small surprises. Again, he chose carefully, modestly, resisting the quiet voice telling him to take more while he could. As the hour ticked away, Daniel made one final stop that surprised even himself. He entered a small clinic. Inside, he paid outstanding bills for his wife's treatment, debts that had followed him like a shadow even after her death. Clearing them would change nothing legally, but morally, it mattered. It was unfinished business, a promise he had made silently beside a hospital bed. When he walked back out into the rain, his shoulders felt lighter, though his future was still uncertain. Eleanor returned exactly 1 hour later, her expression guarded, prepared for disappointment. She expected to find Daniel gone, the card maxed out, her trust proven foolish. Instead, she found him sitting exactly where she left him, soaked from the rain, holding the card out to her with both hands. Along with it came a stack of neatly folded receipts. His eyes never once drifted to her jewelry or her car. They stayed low, respectful, almost apologetic. She took the card slowly, confusion flickering across her face. Back in her car, she reviewed the statements in silence. Groceries, children's clothes, medical bills. Nothing extravagant, nothing selfish. The total was insignificant to her fortune, yet each line item felt heavier than millions she had moved through markets without blinking. Something cracked inside her chest, an unfamiliar ache spreading where certainty used to live. Eleanor followed Daniel at a distance later that evening, curiosity pulling her beyond reason. She watched as he entered a small, dim shelter and reunited with a little girl who ran into his arms like he was the safest place in the world. Lily laughed, her thin arms wrapping around his neck, her joy unfiltered. Daniel knelt to her level, showing her the backpack, the shoes, the food. He looked proud, not of what he bought, but of what he provided honestly. That night, Eleanor didn't sleep. Memories she had buried rose to the surface. Her own childhood, marked by neglect and emotional distance. The way money had become her armor, her excuse for not needing anyone. She realized she had spent decades testing people instead of trusting them, and every test had been designed for failure. Daniel had not just passed her test, he had rewritten it. In the following days, Eleanor used her resources quietly. She arranged for Daniel to receive job training through one of her companies, housing assistance through a foundation she controlled, and educational support for Lily. She didn't frame it as charity but as opportunity, dignity and tact. When Daniel learned the truth, gratitude overwhelmed him, but so did resolve. He promised himself he would never forget where he came from or why integrity mattered more than comfort. Months passed. Daniel found stable work, his confidence slowly returning. Lily started school, her laughter filling a small but clean apartment that finally felt like home. Eleanor visited once, standing awkwardly in the doorway, unsure of her place. Lily hugged her without hesitation, a simple act that undid years of emotional walls. Eleanor understood then that wealth meant nothing if it didn't heal something broken. Daniel never asked for more than he needed, and Eleanor never offered without respect. Their lives moved forward, intersecting quietly, meaningfully. For Eleanor, the test she thought she was conducting revealed the truth about herself. The homeless single dad she tried to measure had become her teacher, showing her that character is clearest when no one is watching. Before this story ends, take a moment to comment below. Tell us what you believe Daniel's greatest strength was, or share a moment when kindness changed your life. Your words might inspire someone who feels invisible today.